Hey guys, welcome to another video for Falcon Biology. In this video, we're taking a look at the digestive system, and we're looking here at the upper half, the upper alimentary canal, which starts at the mouth and ends at the stomach. And then the second half, or the lower half, the lower alimentary canal, begins at the duodenum and then at the anus at the bottom. So we're going to just start right off at the oral cavity, which is essentially just the opening of the mouth, bordered at the bottom by the tongue and at the top by the roof of the mouth. And then just behind that, in the back of the throat, you have the oropharynx, or the pharynx, which will bifurcate, split into the trachea, and then into the esophagus down below. So the esophagus is a long tube that goes down all the way down to the stomach, and it is encircled by muscular tissue, smooth muscle, that will contract in a rhythmic fashion, in a wave-like fashion that will push the food down all the way into the stomach. And again, this is smooth muscle. Essentially, the esophagus all the way down into the rectum, it is all controlled by smooth muscle, which means that the brain is taking control of this. You have no conscious part in this. The body, the brain just processes that all on its own without you having to think of it at all. And then just after the esophagus is the stomach, which is bordered by two sphincters. The superior sphincter here has two names, the cardiac sphincter because it's closer to the heart, or the gastroesophageal sphincter, gastro meaning the stomach, esophageal meaning the esophagus. So it borders the esophagus and the stomach, the gastroesophageal sphincter or cardiac sphincter. And then, as I mentioned, this is the stomach. I'm going to take off that layer of tissue. And as we spoke in class, we have these multiple directional muscles. The fibers run in different directions, causing a churning or a massaging, if you will, or even further breaking down the food into the stomach. And then the innermost lining is called the mucosa. And just like the mucosa in the small intestine, it does produce a layer of mucus in the stomach. But we'll talk about the secretions later. So right after the stomach, the last part of the stomach is the pyloric sphincter. And then right after that, you have the small intestine. Small intestines are essentially referring to the fact that it's just smaller in diameter to that of the large intestine. The small intestine, just going right back to it, is about 22 feet long. Okay, the first part of it is the duodenum, right after the stomach. And then the second third is called the jejunum. And then the last third is the ileum, which leads us right into the large intestines. The large intestine can be broken up into three sections. The main part anyways. You have the ascending intestine, large intestine, you have the transverse, and then you have the descending. And just after the descending, you have the rectum, the storage of the feces. By then, this is all waste product at this point. And then you have the last sphincter, the anal canal. Okay, so that does it for the main part of the digestive system. Now let's take a look at the inside. So what you see here on your right-hand side from the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, as I mentioned before, these are all encircled by smooth muscle, which means this is muscle, the muscularis externa, that you do not control. Your brain, your autonomic nervous system controls this. And in the innermost layer of the small intestine, you have the mucosa. And again, just as it says, it makes that thin layer of mucus. And then the submucosa, muscularis externa, and then the outermost layer, the serosa. Okay? And this is just a overview or a summary of the different enzymes that are produced in each of the accessory organs, which we're about to go into.